How many of you would like to have a better brain? Raise your hand. All right, stand up, please. You're like, oh, he's one of those guys. Stand up, please. As a coach, is it okay if I push you the next 45 minutes? Yes? Okay, we have a lot to be able to share with you. I want to share with you at least 15 practical things that you could do to have a better brain, to learn faster, improve your focus, have a better memory. How many of you came here today like to have a better memory? Raise your hand. Wow. How many forgot why you came here today? Have you ever done that? Have you ever walked into a room of your own home and just forgot why you're there? Anyone feel a little bit absent-minded, like senior moments, they're coming too early? Have you ever done this? Read a page in a book, get to the end, and just forgot what you just read? And you go back and you reread it? You still don't know what you just read, right? Or how many people know somebody who misplaces? They lose things all the time. Their cell phone, their wallet, purse, car keys. Or if not your car keys, something much larger like your car. You ever see the people in parking lots using their car alarm like GPS trying to figure out where they parked? And names. How many of you have trouble remembering people's names? Wow, look around. How many of you forgot someone's name of someone today in the room? Let's start with my name. Hopefully you remember it. My name is Jim Quick of Quick Learning. I help people to learn quickly. Quick really is my last name. I didn't change it to do what I do. You could say my life was pretty much planned out. I had to be a runner back in school, which is a lot of pressure when it says quick right on your shirt. I have to be very careful when I'm driving because you do not want to get pulled over for a speeding ticket when your driver's license says quick, because you're not going to talk your way out of that ticket. And I get to do my mission in life, which is teaching you how to focus quicker, read quicker, remember things quicker, think more quickly. And so that's what my session is going to be about. Now, as we're here, I want you to wake up your body. I did this right before I got on stage. I want you to take your hand or your elbow and raise and touch your opposite knee. And just go back and forth. Look at your neighbor. Can we get this on video? Great. Lots of photos of the audience. You can smile. It's okay to smile when you're doing this. You look as silly as the person next to you. All right, shake out your body. Shh. Repeat after me. Shh. Wow. All right. All right. Massage your earlobe with your opposite hand. And then the other one too. And then I want you to inhale and squat down. Exhale, come on up. Inhale, go down. Exhale, come on up. We're filming this, right? Exhale, go down. This is a trailer for 2025. Inhale, go down. Exhale, come on up. All right, check out your body. Remain standing. So this is something out of educational kinesiology. What we did first are something called cross crawls. When you cross the midline, it connects your left and right brain. It helps you to focus. Use more of your whole brain. You could do it before meetings. You could do it before you want to learn something or read something. The other thing we did was something called super brain yoga. You can look it up online. And we took 60 seconds to do it. But it's a wonderful way to focus your energy when you need to perform. And this is the theme of today. I want to talk about how to accelerate your learning and your team's collective intelligence by doing small little things. Because as your body moves, your brain grooves. As your body moves, your brain grooves. One of my dearest friends of 20 years, we train together every morning at 8 a.m. And he's actually from Romania. I get to see him every single morning for the past 2 decades when I'm not traveling, and we do he's a mixed martial arts. He has a training company where I live. And, because we talk a lot about being here, this has been like on my dream list for 10 years. And so I'm so glad, this is my first time here, so glad to be here with all of you. So his name is Flo Tran Du, and he's from here, and it's just actually not too far from where we are right now. And so I've been visualizing this. This has been on my vision board. So all of you, and I would love to, actually, can we do this photo, point to your brain like this? Do you mind? All right, that's good. All right, but the fitness training helps with your brain training. And as your body moves, your brain grooves. When you exercise, you create something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factors, which is like fertilizer for your brain. It helps you make new connections, something called neuroplasticity. And so I'm going to get you moving a little bit today, not a lot, but right now you can actually sit down for a moment. All right. I encourage you, even though Galaxy AI is taking notes, I encourage you to take some notes of your own if you can. There's a learning curve, but there's also a forgetting curve. When you hear something once, you read it in a book, you listen to it on a podcast, you hear it from a speaker, you're exposed to information once, within 2 days, what % would you guess you forget? 80%. They call it the forgetting curve. When you are exposed to information once, you lose about 80% over 2 days, 48 hours. So taking notes is a wonderful way to lessen that, to mitigate that. And I'm going to share with you, 6 different ways to learn faster. I want to share with you a few ways to improve your memory. And I want to share with you a handful of ways to have a great brain. All right? And then I'm going to end with what I believe is going to be the future of your personal development, personalized learning. All right? So it's a lot to cover. And so sit the way you'd be sitting if you're very excited, you're very focused. Sit the way you'd be sitting right now if you're very kind of motivated, excited. Now, why do you even have to move? But you notice, like, in terms of your body, it could change the way you feel, right? So the first thing, there are 6 keys to learning faster. If you were to ask me what's the most important skill to master in the 21st century for your own success, I would say, undoubtedly, your ability to learn rapidly. An individual or a team's ability to learn rapidly and translate that learning into action is the ultimate competitive advantage. If you can learn how to learn, you can learn how to focus, you can learn how to think, read faster, understand, retain. What subject can you apply that to? Just shout them out. What can you apply that to? What would you like to learn faster? Just shout it out. Anything. Languages. How many of you would like to learn a language faster? What else? Leadership. So if you can learn how to learn, you can apply that towards money, management, marketing, martial arts, music, Mandarin, language. Everything gets easier, right? Except the challenge. You know what the biggest challenge? There were no classes in school that taught that. School teaches you what to learn, like math or history, maybe science, but how many classes on how to learn those subjects? It's a whole subject. So I wrote a book called Limitless, and it's all about, or No Limits, it's all about how your brain works so you can work your brain. Your brain is your #1 wealth-building asset. The challenge is it doesn't come with an owner's manual. It's not like it was thousands of years ago where your value in society was based on your brute strength. Today, it's your brain strength. It's not your muscle power. Today, it's your mind power. And please write this down. The faster I learn, the faster I earn. The faster I can learn, the faster I can earn. Because knowledge today is not only power, knowledge today is profit. And so I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to give you keys to learn faster. I want you to write down this acronym, Be Fast. Be Fast. And that's 6 principles to learning faster. The B stands for believe. I'm going to go through these very rapidly. If you believe you can or believe you can't, either way, what? You're right, right? Henry Ford said that. And it's interesting, somebody just outside in the lobby, they said, Jim, I'm so glad you're here. I have a horrible memory. And I was like, wow, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. Isn't that true? If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So if you're saying to yourself, I'm just too old, I'm not that smart, I don't have a great memory, you could still be stuck, and that's a big challenge. Your brain is this incredible supercomputer. Your self-talk is the program it will run. So if you tell yourself, I'm not good at remembering names, you will not remember the name of the next person you meet because you program your supercomputer not to. Does that make sense? So a belief Actually, let me show you what a belief is. Stand up again. You're like, oh no. And just make a little bit of distance from the person next to you. So maybe spread out into the aisles if you can. I'm going to show you. Repeat after me. Shh. Repeat after. That was awesome. All right. Shake out your body. I'm going to show you in your body because I feel like we don't know it unless we could do it. And my teaching style is, while I have a couple of slides, is I feel like you don't know it unless you do it with your body. Does that make sense? And so shake out your body, leave your feet stationary, and empty your hands. Don't put them in your pocket. Put your phone down. And I want you just with your right hand point forward. Now, you might have done this exercise before. I've been doing this this is my 32nd year of coaching. So I did this many decades ago. Now, I want you to, without moving your feet, turn to your right as far as you could go. As you go as far as you could go, and notice where you're pointing. Take a mental snapshot of where you're pointing. All right, come back center. Shh. Very good. Put your arms by your side, not in your pockets. And I'm going to show you how to train your brain. We're going to do 30 seconds of visualization. I want you to take a deep breath, exhale, and if you feel comfortable, just close your eyes and breathe normal. And I want you in your mind's eye, in your imagination, to imagine you're pointing forward with your right hand again. Just imagine, see and feel yourself pointing forward with your right hand in your imagination, but this time see yourself turning twice as far, going to your right, see and feel yourself turning twice as far, like you're made out of rubber. And it's very pleasurable. You're getting a really good stretch. Feels good. So take a moment, even if you can't imagine it, imagine that you can imagine it. And then with your eyes closed, I want you to see yourself going 3 times around. 1, 2, 3, getting the best stretch of your life. Best stretch. And then one more time with a big smile on your face, thinking, what does this have to do with speed reading? See and feel yourself going 3, 4 times around. 4 times around. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, open your eyes, please. And now watch this, everyone. You're gonna blow your own mind. I want you to point forward with your right hand and turn to your right as far as you can now go. Go as far as you can go now. Whoa. All right, clap if you went further a second time. Have a seat. Now, take a moment and show your neighbors. Raise your hand if you went further the second time. Raise your hand up high. Look at your neighbors, to the person to your left and right. Now, that's 95% of you. The question I want to ask all of you, and this is something that I feel is going to be a great metaphor for our performance and our life beyond this event. 95% of you went further the second time. Now, were you physically capable of turning that far the first time? Yes, right? Nobody took a yoga class when our eyes were closed, right? You're physically capable. Where was the limitation if there was one? In your mind. And you could say, I don't have a belief on how far I could turn. How many beliefs do you have? Countless beliefs. And write this down. All behavior is belief-driven. All behavior is belief-driven. If you want to create a new result in your life or at work, you need to do a new behavior. In order to do that behavior, you need a belief that says that's possible, right? Just like your brain is this incredible supercomputer, your self-talk is a program it will run. You tell yourself you're not good at remembering names, you won't remember the name of the next person you meet, right? So that visualization becomes real. Now, some of you went 25, 50% further. Did you work harder the second time? No, right? But imagine, what if you could go 25 or 50% further in other areas of your life without working harder, but just changing that limiting belief? How many of you would be interested in that? 25, 50% more happiness, 25, 50% more health, energy, 25, 50% more income or contribution or impact, right? So this is where we start. Just like Marissa talked about mindset, your beliefs are part of your mindset. The E in Be Fast, and the rest I'm gonna go through very rapidly, the E is exercise. And I don't mean physical exercise, we talked about that. I mean practice. Because practice makes what? Progress, right? Practice makes progress. Like I'm very good at remembering names. Some of you might have seen on YouTube where I memorize 100 people's names, pass around a microphone and audience. But after I practiced for 30 days or 60 days, I didn't improve much. Because once you know how to do something, you know how to tie your shoes, you know how to drive a car, you know how to type, then it's just a skill set. And you could write this down for those who like to take a lot of notes. There is no such thing as a good or bad memory. There's just a trained memory and an untrained memory. There's no such thing as a good or bad memory. There's a trained memory and an untrained memory. So memory is not something you have, it's something that you could practice. So the E in Be Fast, exercise. Commit to doing the practice. There's bad news, it takes effort. The good news, not as much as you think. And when we talk about remembering names, I think it's one of the most important business etiquette skills there is. How many of you are in sales? Or how many of you have a relationship with a human being? Raise your hand. Because how are you going to show somebody you're going to care for their life, their future, their finances, their health, whatever you have to offer them, if you don't care enough just to remember their name, right? What's the message we send to somebody when we forget their name? They're not important, that we don't care. So it doesn't matter what you say after that. And remembering names is something that's pretty simple to be able to learn, and we'll talk about that. Now, the F in Be Fast stands for forget. We already said the number one skill to master in the 21st century is your ability to learn rapidly. Your ability to learn, to unlearn, to relearn, it changes everything. And then take that learning and put it into action, right? Because knowledge is not power. Knowledge has the potential to be a lot of power. It only becomes power when we utilize it. And I want to encourage you here, a reminder that all the conferences or books or podcasts, none of it works unless you work. Is that fair? That we can't be upset by the results we didn't get from the work we didn't do. So hopefully, my rule generally is for every hour I spend learning something, I'm studying something, I'm reading. How many of you listen to podcasts? All right, like our podcast is the number one brain performance show in the world, almost 100 million downloads, 400 episodes, no advertising. We just want to get it out to the world because I grew up, as you heard from the video, with severe learning difficulties. I had a traumatic brain injury when I was 5 years old. I couldn't read for 3 years. When I was 9 years old, I was slowing down the classroom because I just didn't understand the lessons like all the other children. And I was being teased pretty bad. A teacher came to my defense. She pointed to me. I'm even getting a little dry mouth just thinking about it. She pointed to me and said, "Leave that kid alone. That's the boy with the broken brain." And how many of you have children? Raise your hand. How many of you once were a child? Raise your hand. Adults have to be very careful of their external words because they become a child's internal words. So every single time I did badly in school, which was all the time, or wasn't picked for sports, or football or something, I always say, "Oh, because I have the broken brain." And that was my belief. And we talked about all behavior is belief-driven, right? So that label became my limit. But the F in Be Fast stands for forget, which is interesting from a memory coach. So my challenge growing up was learning. For all through until I was 18 years old, I struggled every single day. I would have these migraines, I would have these learning difficulties. I was put in, these special classes because I just couldn't understand. But the F stands for forget. And what I mean by that, sometimes we don't learn something because we feel like we know it. Does that make sense? Like even today, you might think you know about, and I can't wait to just, next year it looks amazing, that lineup. If you feel like you know sales though, then your cup is full and you won't learn something new. Does that make sense? You have to empty your cup. Your mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's what? Open, right? So keep an open mind. The other thing about forgetting is I would forget about distractions. And I know it's easier said than done, but how many of you multitask a lot to keep up? You know, multitask, you do more than one thing at a time. In actuality, you're not multitasking. The research says you're doing something called task switching. And your brain can't do two cognitive activities well at the same time, like driving and texting, right? There are going to be more accidents. So you're not only going to make more mistakes, but when you multitask, you're focusing on one thing and then you go to focus on something else, it could take 5 or 10 minutes to regain your focus. And so you lose time. You also use up a lot of energy. Your brain is only 2% of your body mass, but it requires 20% of the energy. So if you ever feel tired throughout the day, sometimes we're trying to do too much at the same time. And sometimes we're burnt out. How many of you feel burnt out, like more than ever, or stressed? Sometimes we're burnt out not because we're doing too much. Sometimes we're burnt out because we're doing too little of the things that make us come alive. Does that make sense? That also nurture ourselves and gives us energy, as opposed to individuals or ideas or environments that are like energy vampires. They take energy from you. And so the F is forget and focus. The A in Be Fast is active. Active. Learning like life is not a spectator sport. And I want you to be active in your learning. And how can you be active? We could ask questions at the break. You know, I love to meet, many of you. You could take notes. And one of the best ways of taking notes, by the way, how many of you could take notes digitally or handwriting notes? How many of you prefer digital note-taking? Raise your hand. How many of you prefer handwriting notes? Wow, okay, 90%. At universities, when students are tested for comprehension and retention, which really what matters for handwriting notes or digital note-taking, which one do you think outperforms the other? Handwriting notes, right? And we have our YouTube, millions of views on. If you search my name, how to take notes, we show different ways of taking notes. It has, we have a good 1.7 million subscribers there, and it's all again free. The idea here, though, with note-taking is if you handwrite notes, you'll understand it better. And I like digital note-taking. It's easier for storage. It's easier for me to share with my clients and share with my team. Some of you can handwrite notes on a digital notepad, right? There's different ways about it. Here's one way. If you take a piece of paper and you are handwriting notes, put a line right down the page. And on the left side, you capture. On the right side, you create. This is a whole brain note-taking technique. And please let me know on social media or LinkedIn or whatever how it's working for you. On the left side, you're taking notes. On the right side, you're making notes. So your left brain, and this is a simplification, is more logic, it's more words and language. Your right brain is more imagination, more creativity, more colors, emotion. So the idea here is if you're taking notes on the left side, you're going to make notes on the right side. You're going to write your impressions of what you're capturing. You're creating your impressions. So maybe you're writing how to remember names on the left side. If your mind's going to wander, your imagination is going to hijack and distract you to something else, I'd rather it focus on the right side where you could be creative and write your impressions. How am I going to use this? How does this relate to what I already know? What questions do I have, for Jim at the dinner, right? And so that's a way of capturing and creating, right? It's an active way. So lots of different ways to be more active in your learning. The S in FAST stands for state. State. And when I say the word state, what do you think I mean when it comes to learning and performance? How you feel. How many of you want a better long-term memory? Raise your hand. Raise your hand high. I believe two of the most costly words in business, I forgot. Think about the consequence of saying, I forgot what I just read. I forgot what I was going to say. I forget what that person said to me. I forget to go to that meeting or that appointment. I forgot that person's name. Every single time you have these thoughts, you lose time, you lose trust, you could hurt a sale. But on the other side, memory will make you money. when you could easily remember client information or product information, give speeches like this without notes, right? Facts and figures and foreign languages, everything gets a lot easier for you, right? But part of a better long-term memory is this. Put your hand out and say information. Do this. All right, brand minds, information combined with emotion becomes a long-term memory. All right, and that's the key. A long-term memory, you add emotion to what you want to remember, and you remember it better. We remember things that make us feel. Even that idea in sales, people don't buy logically, they buy what? Emotionally, and they justify logically. So how do you add more emotion to what you want to remember? I'm going to show you how to do that. And there are 3 emotions you want to be able to cultivate. Actually, let me show you what they are. Stand up. Good exercise. Stand up and find a group of 3, 4, or 5 really quickly. Just proximity, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Get into groups of 3, 4, 5, or 6 very quickly. Very quickly. Go. Raise your hand if you need a group. Raise your hand if you need a group. Just grab anybody. 3, 4, 5, or 6, or 7. Even if you need 7, grab a group. All right, repeat after me. Shh. All right, well, that was good. There are 3 emotions that you could cultivate to learn faster. And I'm going to share with you those emotions. Now, as a shortcut to learn it faster, we're going to play a game. Who are the fastest learners on the planet? Children, right? How fast can a child learn a musical instrument or another language compared to an adult? And they're willing to be playful. How many of you as children used to pretend you were somebody else, or like a superhero or something, an astronaut? Okay. We're going to take 3 superheroes and the 3 emotions that I feel like they embody, and we're going to play a game. All right? How many of you like games? Raise your hand. Awesome. All right, so the first emotion is fun. Do you learn better and faster when you're having fun? Yes or yes? Yes or yes? All right, fun. And the superhero for me that embodies fun is Spider-Man. How many of you like superheroes? You watch the movies and, okay, so when I count to 3, 1, 2, 3, you're gonna show your friends Spider-Man's move, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wait. Wait, where did the sound effects come from? All right, instead of saying shh, so you're spinning the web at your friends, instead of doing that, instead of saying shh, like shh, you're gonna go fun. You're gonna say the word fun, but feel fun. All right, you have permission to have fun today, everybody. All right, so I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, and you're gonna go fun and tell your face you're having fun. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Fantastic, and feel it. All right, the second emotion, and it is an emotion, is focus. How many of you would love to have more focus? Right? You want to starve your distractions. You want to feed your focus. Focus is a feeling. And the superhero for me, there are many of them. I'm going to use Black Panther. So I want you to do make 2 fists and make an X. And that X is a focal point. All right, a focal point in business even. So I was in Estonia, and we have a podcast. We have a podcast, and we filmed the podcast episode there. And the story goes, there's a power plant. And one day, very loud power plant, one day, very busy, it just shuts down out of nowhere. And the team doesn't know what to do. They try to fix it, and it doesn't work. 1 hour passes, 2 hours. The manager, he's in panic mode. He picks up the phone and calls the local technician, and he says, "Technicians, you're lucky, I'm 5 minutes away." Technician shows up, walks around the floor for a few minutes, and the floor is full of all these beams, right? These columns. And on these beams or columns are all these electrical boxes. He goes to one specific beam with all these boxes. He goes to one box particularly, opens it up, and inside are all these screws, all these wires. He goes to one screw, turns it, what happens? Bam, the entire power plant turns back on. The manager's like, "Thank you so much, you saved the day. How much do I owe you?" and he says, this will be 10,000 US dollars, right? And he's like, what? You were here for 5 minutes. All you did was turn one screw, give me an invoice, right? And he says, no problem, takes out a piece, notepad, scribbles something on a piece of paper, tears it, gives it to him. He says, oh, okay, I understand. Manager goes to his desk, takes out a checkbook, writes a check for the full amount, gives it to the technician. You look at the invoice, it says, turning screw, $1. Knowing what screw to turn, $9,999, right? And the reason I share this with all of you is not that I think you have screws loose. I say it because, first of all, knowledge is not only power, it's profit. There's a divide, not only those who have and those who don't have, there's also a divide between those who know things and those who don't know things, right? And when somebody knows things, they can make better decisions. There's a quote in my book, Limitless, that says, life is a letter C between the letters B and D. Life is C between B and D. What does that mean? B is birth, D is death, life C, choice. Like your life is the sum total of all the choices you made, right? Yeah. You chose to be here today, right? And so, wait, don't sit down yet. So your life is this total of all the choices. And I believe that these difficult times, they could diminish you. These difficult times can distract you. Or these difficult times, they could develop you. We decide. And that's the power of your choices, right? So it's really decisions determine your destiny. And so how does this relate, turning that screw? It's interesting. Knowledge is not only power, it's profit, but also there was one screw that turned everything else on. I'm obsessed with finding those few screws that turn everything else on in your productivity and your performance. And state is one of them, all right? So the second emotion is focus. When I say an X, that's the focal point, right? That screw is the focal point that turned everything else on. And so I look for the foods and the ideas and the frameworks to help you turn everything on here, your number one wealth building asset. So for me, Black Panther, so when I say 1, 2, 3, you're going to go like this and not say Black Panther, you're going to say focus. So you're going to turn to your friends when I say 1, 2, 3 and go focus and feel focus. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. And then the last one, the last emotion, we're almost done. The last emotion is confidence. If you had more fun, focus, and confidence, will you learn better? Will you perform better? So confidence for me, I'm thinking one person, Wonder Woman. All right, Wonder Woman. So I want you to do this. Put your hands on your hips, your shoulders back. How many of you watch like TED Talks? There's a TED Talk, one of the most famous ones, top 5 of all time, by my friend Amy Cuddy. And she talks about just doing the Wonder Woman pose could affect your nervous system, your neurology, your hormonal expression. You could do this before walk into a sales meeting. Put your shoulders back, put a $1 billion smile, and confidence, all right? So when I say 1, 2, 3, turn to your friends, do the Wonder Woman pose and say confidence. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, let's do Spider-Man. Remember Spider-Man, fun? 1, 2, 3, fun. And then the Black Panther was 1, 2, 3, focus. And then confidence was 1, 2, 3, confidence. All right, here's the game. I want you to go back to back with your partners. Just turn, don't do the best you can to not face each other. To not face each other. Turn, go back to back. Shh. All right, shh. We need complete silence. Here's the game. In a moment, I'm going to count to 3 again. And you're going to turn around and you're going to do this. You're going to choose a superhero, do their move, and say their word. All right? Now, how many of you like to win? Raise your hand. Right? Yeah, we want to win, right? And so how you win is if all 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you all match, then you won. What's the sound you make when you win at something? What's the sound you make? Go. Romania Brand Minds. What's the sound when you're celebrating? What's the sound? Go. Fantastic. If just one person doesn't match, then you lose. What's the sound you make when you lose at something? Oh, that was a lot more natural. All right, ready? Go back to back. Think of the superhero and the word. I'm going to count to shh. I'm going to count to 3. When I say 3, turn around, do the move, and say the word. And if you all match, you celebrate, you make that sound. If you don't, you make the other sound. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Raise your hand if you won. Raise your hand up high if your team won. Wow. All right. Shh. We need more winners here. I'm going to give you one more try. Go back to back. Shh. Repeat after me. Shh. Clear your mind. I'm going to clear your mind. We're going to do it one more time. I want you to think about your superhero, and you're thinking, is she going to change it on us? Don't worry, if you don't win, it's his fault, not your fault. Ready? And if you win, celebrate loud. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Have a seat. Shh. So the idea I want you to take away from this exercise, you don't have feelings, you do them. How many of you have a to-do list? Raise your hand. I highly suggest, I challenge you tomorrow to create a to-feel list. Like, what are 3 emotions you want to cultivate that day? Because all learning, like all of life, is state dependent. You remember when Marissa was going through mindset? Right? And she was also talking about how thoughts lead to feelings, that lead to actions, that lead to more thoughts, right? Feelings, what's your to feel? You don't have them, you do it. Because one of the things here that we're talking about state, I got to, my business partner and our CEO, Alexis, and I, we got to introduce 2 superheroes together. It was Richard Branson and Stan Lee. Not Stan Lee, but Stan Lee. Who knows who Stan Lee is? Created what? All those Marvel superheroes. And we're in the car going to dinner, and I asked Stan, I was like, you created all the most amazing superheroes. I have to ask, who's your favorite? And he says, Jim, it's Iron Man. How many Iron Man fans? Fantastic. And then he asked me back, said, Jim, who's your favorite superhero? And I posted this on social media. For Connected, you saw it. He was wearing a Spider-Man tie. And I said, Spider-Man. And in his iconic voice, Stan goes, with great power comes great. Wow. And how come so many of you know that? And truthfully, I had a traumatic brain injury I mentioned when I was a child that led to learning disadvantages. I reverse some things when I read or hear. And I heard something different. I was right. Stan, you're right. With great power comes great responsibility. And the opposite is also true. With great responsibility comes great power. When we take responsibility for something, we have great power to make it better. And I think one of the most important things to be responsible for is how you feel, right? Because everybody here, you are a thermostat, you're not a thermometer. A thermometer just reacts to the environment. A thermostat, it knows the temperature, but it gauges the environment. But what's different with the thermostat? It sets a temperature and the environment reacts to you. That's leadership. Right? You set a temperature or a standard or a vision, and the world reacts to you, right? And I think one of the most important things is to set the standard for how you show up and you feel each day. So that's state. And finally, the T in Be Fast stands for teach. If you want to learn anything faster, more rapidly, learn it with the intention of teaching somebody else. They call it the explanation effect. When you learn something to explain to somebody else, you're going to learn it so much better. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? Yes. All right. From here, I'm going to teach you 3 keys for a better memory. How many of you would like to have those 3 keys? Raise your hand. Write the word mom, M-O-M. Let's say you want to remember names better. And there was a suitcase full of money for you or your favorite charity. tax-free, it's all yours. If you just remember the name of the next stranger you meet in this room, raise your hand if you're going to remember that person's name, up high. Now, how come you're all memory experts all of a sudden? Because the truth is, you can remember names. The first M in mom is what? Motivation. What's your motive for remembering that person's name? So something very, very simple to remember names. Ask yourself, why do I want to remember this person's name? Why? Because reasons reap results. If you don't have a reason, you won't get the results. You have to go from your head to your heart, then your hands. If you procrastinate and you're not motivated, which is part of the Limitless model, and I believe the book is in the bookstore here, we donate all the proceeds to charity. So we built schools in Ghana, Guatemala, Kenya, all around the world. Thank you. And also donated the proceeds to Alzheimer's research for women. Women are twice as likely to experience Alzheimer's than men. And I lost my grandmother to Alzheimer's when I was 7. So in her memory, it's very important for us. So I think you learn to earn, so hopefully you could return, right? But going back to this model here, motivation, you have to understand that things go from your head. You could visualize, have goals in your head, but if you're not acting with your hands, you're procrastinating. Check in with the second H, which is your heart, the emotions, the purpose, as other speakers have mentioned. So that's the M. The O is this. Shake out your hand. Do this. Do what I'm doing here. Focus. Make sure your neighbor is shaking out their hand. Make a fist. Put it to your chin. Now, everybody, where's your chin? The O in mom is observation. A lot of people, when they forget something like a name, they blame their retention, and it's not your retention, it's your attention. The art of memory is the art of attention. Your brain is the most amazing supercomputer on the planet. You can remember someone's name, 1 or 2 words, right? But most of us aren't listening. You're thinking about what you're going to say, or you're looking around. Your focus is not there. You're multitasking. So you're making that mistake. Oh. And finally, the M in mom, the second M, are the methods. All right? Now I'm going to share with you one of the ways right now, and I'm going to give you a gift. All right. Just like there's personalized medicine, and I don't know if the next speaker is going to talk about this, and personalized nutrition based on an assessment, everyone's a little bit different. And I noticed this is my 32nd year of teaching. You know, I'm in my 50s. I find that you could grow older, but in a lot of ways you could grow better, right? Improving your memory. Your brain code, there's a difference when you're learning, because everybody learns a little different. So there's 4 primary brain types. I'm going to end with this. And I made them animals. And once you understand this, this will not only change how you learn, it'll change how you market. It'll change how you message. It'll change how you raise investment capital or sell, and how you parent based on brain types. So very, very rapidly, code, C-O-D-E. The C are your cheetahs. And your cheetahs, their dominant brain type, if you're a cheetah, is action. And think about, when I go through this very rapidly, which animal you are. And I'll actually give you a QR code. You could take it. We normally charge for this. You could take it as my gift. All right? It's a 4-minute assessment. The cheetah are your action takers. If you're a cheetah, you adapt very quickly to the environment, right? You just act. That's your superpower. The O in code are your owls. Your owls. And their dominant trait is logic. Logic. So if you think about this, owls, their dominant trait is logic. They love data. They love facts. They love figures. The D are your dolphins. And your dolphins are your visionaries. They're great pattern recognizers. They are often entrepreneurs who could see the future of their brand or their business, and maybe other people can't yet see it. And they have a lot of passion behind it. The E in code are your elephants, and their dominant trait is empathy. Great interpersonal skills, high emotional intelligence. So like a cheetah, it could be, the cheetah could be someone like Richard Branson or Serena Williams, right? Nadia Comaneci. There's so many action-oriented individuals. The O are your logic. So that's like your Einsteins, your Marie Curies. The D are your dolphins, your Walt Disney, your J.K. Rawlings, right? Your elephants could be the empathy and high emotional intelligence. People love them. And it could be individuals like Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi or Queen Maria of Romania, right? And so these are other individuals. But once you understand your brain type, you could work your brain better because you would sell to an owl differently. They want facts and case studies, right? But a dolphin, you want to show how your vision, how their vision for themselves, how your product or service fits in that vision. If you're selling to an elephant, facts are great, case studies great, but what's most important to them is the relationship itself, because empathy, right? So once you understand how your brain works, you could work your brain. And when you go through this in 4 minutes, we made it free here at this link, we'll give you strategies on how to read faster, improve your memory, learn another language based on your dominant brain type. I'll end with this. It's such an honor. This has been, I mentioned, on my goal list to visit for 10 years, and I'm so glad I get to do this with you. What I would say is this. Life is hard for one of two reasons. Either you're leaving your comfort zone or you're staying in your comfort zone. And where we're talking about team performance and raising the collective productivity of your team, learning is it's not just your neurological networks, it's your social networks. And who you spend time with is who you become. And here's the thing, like, change could be scary for your company or yourself, right? Growth could be hard, but nothing is as scary and hard as being stuck somewhere where you don't belong, right? If you want to grow your brand, you need to grow your brain. If you want to grow your business, you grow your brain. And we don't want to take out of fear, downsize everything, shrink what's possible to fit your mind. You want to expand your mind to fit all that's possible. Because I guarantee you, there's a version of yourself and there's a version of your brand that's patiently waiting. And the goal is we show up every single day until we're introduced. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.